Hello, dear viewers. It is me, Will.30, and I am back. And, well, I have some more games. And I'll need to explain why. That is probably a very cliche attention hook saying, allow me to explain. But I quite simply need you to allow me to explain. I cannot do this unless you give me consent. Allow me to explain! When I was in Austin for Formula 1, you know I personally couldn't resist going to another games store. And first of all, I got this very cool Han Solo sort of manga style shirt, which I'm not wearing because I already wore it recently. Also, I got like a few games, and well, quite simply have them all around here. I might be wondering, Will.30, did you pick up more bad PlayStation 2 games? Well, why, of course I did. It's quite literally a problem I've been having. God help me. Now today we only have 3 games because this is random PS2 games, and I'm pretty sure a compilation of Sonic the Hedgehog games from like the Sega Genesis. No one's gonna care about that, but today we have the following games: Corvette Evolution GT, Flatout 2, and EA Sports F1 2002. These are all PlayStation 2 racing games that you can probably buy for yourself. And I'm going to play all of these games for you guys and tell you what I think. So basically this is another multi-game review. And I will have to censor out every time I say the F word in this one, because now this is apparently a series I'm doing. Yeah. Also, considering putting my hair in a ponytail just to get like some of this out of the way, because I've started looking at it, and at this point it's starting to make me look older than I am, which is no good. Anyway, after I adjust my camera and do some other minor things, I will see you in just a minute. We're going to be starting out with Corvette Evolution GT.
Infinite wonders. Endless possibilities.
Please! Hello! Let's go. I have a headache.
And that's when Willie let us already knew. He had f***ed up.
No idea what I'm talking about, because
Stop yelling at you, gang, their flags in the score zone. Epic flag denied. Tag the survivors.
Gotta infect them fast.
You infected VFN Sky.
I crashed him, I bashed him. Because this truck, this random crap like this.
I require assistance. Did I discover? Everyone get the hell out! You're king! Corvette Evolution GT, also known as just Evolution GT in Europe, is a PS2 racing sim, or I call it sim. That term should be used very loosely with this game, as I would not consider the handling in it very realistic. So, let's look at the wiki page. It was released for PlayStation 2, Windows, and DS, and, well, I'm waiting for past me to scroll a bit farther. There we go. It was developed by Milestone and Island Racing Studios, made the DS port. In North America, it was published by Valken, and In Europe, it was published by Black Bean. Apparently, it never made it to Japan, though. And it used the RenderWare engine. These are the same people who made Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano, so my hopes were not particularly high. Also, apparently it has less content in the Nintendo DS version, but that is to be expected. Now, let us look at the reception that this game received upon its launch. It received, well, as you can see for yourself, it sort of got average reviews, but that's how the cookie crumbles. But how good is the cookie? Is the cookie very tasty? Well, let's sample this cookie then. Now, I should let it be known that this game is not totally PS2 Slim friendly, as my PS2 Slim really did not like reading it. In fact, as you can see here, even though the disc was in the console, it didn't quite read correctly. Sorry, I've been recovering from the flu, Jesus. But, as you can see, I turn it off and on again. And now we get this screen again. And yeah, so I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with the disc, I'm not quite sure. But there might be something wrong with the disc. That, or it's just not a game that's compatible with my own model of PS2. But eventually I did manage to get the game to work. It just took a couple tries, still a bit weird, a bit strange. It's an issue I rarely have, if at all.
Lose for whatever reason.
And then after the PS2 miraculously recognized it as a game, it took 8 years to load. Motion sickness warning. This warning is in effect due to Corvette Evolution GT's high-intensity intro sequence. You will be safe when you hear the music stop.
Okay, published by Velcon. So Velcon seems like a new face. Oh god, the screen glare. I should probably actually have some lights on. But first, oh no! You probably remember Milestone from last time, and RenderWare, as they were responsible for Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano, one of the worst racing games I've ever played. Let's enjoy this masterpiece of an intro sequence. So a classic benchmark of Milestone RenderWare. Great intro sequence. Was the game actually great? After last time, I really doubt it.
This game scores surprisingly high in presentation, as what you're presented with as soon as you launch the game is very pleasant. It's an excellent style, it works very well, and the system of saving is surprisingly similar to Gran Turismo. I didn't expect it to be that way, but apparently it is. So the first thing I did was name my profile and then go into settings to screw with shit as I usually do. And then I dove headfirst into the career.
No. Oh, that makes it somehow worse.
Then I became acquainted with this Englishman who wouldn't shut the f*** up.
A champion race driver. But what does being a race driver mean? Winning races and championships is easier said than done. A real race driver knows he has to learn how to drive fast and most of all, how to improve his racing skills.
We're gonna skip past most of this stuff because he's really long-winded, he's really boring, and most of the shit he says is very obvious.
What the f is going on?
Steering.
I think I just got murdered.
Next, I had to familiarize myself with the controls, which meant enjoying simultaneously one of the most awful and in-depth racing game tutorials I've ever played.
Awful? For some reason I don't have vibration. Pretty sure I had that turned on. I might not have. But this feels absolutely awful. First of all, those brakes, they didn't broke. This genuinely feels awful. Just like Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano. And that's why I was concerned about this game, because this is literally made by the same people as Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano, just published by a different person. The physics, I think they may be almost entirely stripped from Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano. And while there are some pretty big graphical improvements, this game is from 2006. Still, the handling model, it's a dumpster fire. Yep, RPG elements. What the hell did I expect?
Okay guys, now you know how to complete the fast lap. You might end up like this.
Man, left.
See what happens? Always keep an eye.
And now we have opponents. I'm in a Corvette. Okay, you really gotta hold down the X button. It's holy shit, that doesn't feel good at all. Odd wire. See, it's not dangerous at all.
Wow.
This heartbeat is larger than this man speaking. Alright, I'm here to intimidate an opponent. I'm here to drive them absolutely nuts. I'm here to deplete their sanity. Odd wire, I'm coming for your anus. Good lord, this game handles awfully. This is just a tutorial. I have no idea what the rest of the game is like.
Well done. That's a great power. You can.
Oh god, I feel like
but also,
his lips aren't synced with his speech anymore.
You have to
That's
know
weird.
Being intimidated is not so funny.
Ouch.
Look at what happens to you.
I can still drive. Hell, never mind. Great, more RPG elements.
It's not nice. It happens.
This green screening is
It's like
actually looking
magic.
really terrible. Yeah. The rewind is the only thing that they didn't steal from someone else. Forza actually somehow stole the rewind effect from them. Which... yeah.
We have discovered the Tiger of But.
Holy that is bad. I've actually never seen braking mechanics worse in this game. Like, at least not for Romeo Racing Italiano, the brakes semi-worked. These, the brakes don't work in this at all half the time. Which is extremely annoying. You can never get anything done. And this is just a tutorial. Imagine how bad the main game must be. Like, holy. Also, camera controls are really weird. Yeah, get that message out of my face though, so I can actually see my opponent. Yeah, I could just shut up so I could do it? Good Lord! Who designed this game's physics? This is legitimately one of the most awful driving experiences I've ever had in a racing game. Like, even Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano was somehow better than this, and that is one of the worst games I've ever played. Like, yeah, get that message out of my face! I cannot see! God damn you! This man's face looks better than Jimmy here. Proceed, I guess.
After somehow miraculously surviving the tutorial and turning half of it into a YTP, I went and did the next logical thing. Screw around in the menus. But before you start that, I should mention that this game has a weird system of choosing a special ability, which makes you better at certain aspects of driving, which is one of the worst damn features I've seen in a racing game, ever. I mean, driving skills should depend on how good you're driving, not how many RPG stats your driver avatar has.
And now we assign our RPG skill points. Yeah, we need to make sure handling is prioritized in this game, because this game is weird.
Also, remember how Alfa Romeo Racing Italiano had this weird clothing customization? So does Corvette Evolution GT. Anyway, then I made the mistake of clicking on challenge mode and was met with more YTP material.
You think you can pass 9?
No. I'm not doing this. I don't have time for this. I'm going straight to season. What's R now? Oh, this game is confusing. I don't know how the menu system works yet, but yeah. Can I use a sort of top-down view? I actually don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. This is actually feeling a lot better now. Oh. I probably spoke too soon when I said that.
Spend.
What I think of Corvette Evolution GT? I think it's inconclusive because when I first started out, I was in the Corvette, which felt really awful to drive. The tutorial was very obvious, very dumb. It taught you things you probably already knew. A lot of mechanics feel dumb, like all the RPG elements. And the guy keeps appearing in cutscenes, I don't know his name, he's just very kind of annoying. It's a very, not very dignified experience. But once I started driving the Audi, it started to feel a lot better. And, well, there's no music in races, which is an obvious downside. I feel like I haven't played this game or given it enough time to really feel it or examine it to give a proper, educated opinion on it. So we will have to revisit this game at a later time to give a proper evaluation. Anyway, on to the next game, which is Flatout 2. Now, if I don't sound quite myself, that's because my nose is really stuffed up, still recovering from the flu. Anyway, this is the PS2 version of Flatout 2. There's also an Xbox 360 version and a ton of different versions of this game for some reason. So, let's just dive right into it. And by the way, it's still available on Steam if you want to get it for yourself. So, basically, it's a sequel to the original Flatout. It was made by Bugbear Entertainment. And you just kind of have this picture here. I'm waiting for my past self to scroll down. In Europe, it was released by Empire, and here in North America, it was not produced. What's the word I'm looking for? Published by Vivendi. It was on Windows, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation Portable, Linux, and I'm trying to read whatever the hell that is right down there. But right now, the word recording, because I'm using iMovies in the way. Anyway, it had a very unusual release schedule, which kind of confuses me, but it's a release schedule, I guess. And this game is basically on every console or thing that was available at the time, and it's also still on Steam if you want to get it. And the only console that existed at the time, other than Nintendo consoles, that wasn't on was PS3. You can probably get this game somewhere. And as you can see, there's a ton of random information about this game and how it came to be, and it's just a very confusing part of the series just because of how many different specific versions there were, but received generally favorable reviews. So, did it get those reviews for nothing? Because I've never played Flatout before, I don't know how it's like, so let's see if Flatout 2 still holds up in the year 2022.
Evolution GT, I do individual takes for each game, by the way. Wow, one of the smoothest intros I've ever seen. That looks like it could be in the Wipeout 3 intro for like a team. Not as smooth, but very PlayStation 2-ish. But look at how smooth that was. My god, that feels good.
Then it ceased to feel good, as Flatout 2 has one of the most shovelware-ish intros I've ever seen. I'll leave it in, but still, it's pretty bad.
What the hell are these planes made of? I'm not sure what I just witnessed. But we have Flatout 2 on the PlayStation 2. It was also released on Xbox 360, so if you want to get this game, I probably recommend that better. Use an autosave feature. Whatever. No, I don't want to do this. Well, it's successful. I already have this set up, so there's no need to screw with anything.
By the way, I should mention that due to the sheer amount of copyrighted rock music in this game, I'm going to be trying to avoid showing as many scenes as possible and just show the highlights. Because this is a one-way trip to a copyright strike if I don't. Anyway, this is my first time starting the career, so here you'll see me select my very first car. Now you have three options, the Chili, the Malice, and the Roamer. I chose the Chili because I thought since it would be cheaper, I'd have the most room to upgrade it with my beginning cash. Next thing I did for some reason was browse at the cars instead of upgrading my own car for some reason. And I found that this game actually has a pretty large amount of cars, which are split between three classes. You have Derby class, which is just like a bunch of scrap metal. You have Race class, which is basically like some stock cars, and I guess some touring style cars. And then you have Street class, which is like a bunch of road rockets, like Honda Civics with gas can exhausts, that kind of thing. It's very much a tuner culture type of area in the street class. And obviously, the order in which I'm showing these different classes doesn't really correspond with the classes that are being shown or spoken about. But obviously, I'm sick. I'm not quite doing things correctly, am I? Anyway, and these cars, I think a lot of them look really good. And probably, definitely worth getting a decent amount of them. Some of them do have dumb names like Speed Evil, Spedevil. What am I supposed to take away from that? Then I finally got to upgrading my weird ass hatchback, which I probably should have done first, but I didn't because I'm kind of weird. Anyway, then I got the career started, which I selected Derby because that's the only one I have a car for. And I'll only be showing highlights from this point because I really don't want a DMCA takedown, which I'll probably get if I show more than that. So also, now might be a good time to mention that I didn't quite understand the idea of driving aggressively in Flatout yet, so I don't play this game correctly at all in gameplay footage I recorded. I started playing it correctly after the gameplay footage was recorded, but again, that was off camera, so you won't see me playing Flatout properly.
Almost.
Okay, guys, now you know how to complete the fast lap.
What in the hell is this? My dude. Time to get offensive. And by that, I mean crash into people. I'm not gonna suddenly become homophobic. That'd be weird. Oh, shit! My God, what are you doing? Can I put this trailer here? Okay, my brakes might be holy crap! I absolutely wrecked. I can see why people like this franchise. This is kind of entertaining. Also, the fact that this runs on PS2 is the way the damage physics are is kind of incredible. Like, literally, look how much detail is in the physics. And at the same time, it even has some pretty good graphics as well, so it's kind of a technical marvel. It was originally meant for just PC, I believe, so, yeah. With the soundtrack, you can definitely tell it's a product of its time, but it's a pretty good product of its time. Still, I feel like games that go with more techno-heavy soundtracks do end up aging better. It's because, like, techno, it's not something that really ages like different types of rock do. It's something that's kind of universal.
And so my dumbass won my first championship. And also apparently unlocked this stunt event that I spent way too much time on before realizing it was a waste of my time. Also, of all the stunt vehicles in this game, this one has a very fucking badass. Anyway, mid-tutorial, I accidentally somehow skipped the tutorial, so I went to this having no clue how the hell I was supposed to do this. Anyway, more racing.
Oh god, that was a hard-hitting fence. That fence took offense to my very being.
Scusi. Hang on, what the fuck?
I got a board in me. This is completely normal. Holy shit. Oh god.
So what do I think of Flatout 2? I think Flatout 2 is really fun. It's really enjoyable. I highly recommend it to anyone. And quite simply, it is very fun to just deliberately try to smash into your opponents just to see the carnage and just enjoy that sort of violent urge, whatever. And yeah, it's very good. I really like Flatout 2. My only nag is quite honestly the soundtrack, because I'm just not like a rock person, and it's very much that sort of early 2000s punk rock that's always associated with rebellious teenagers and anarchy, which is it's just a very annoying aesthetic to constantly have in your ears while you're trying to do some demolition. So yeah, but highly recommend Flatout 2. Now, let's get on to the next game. Our third and final game is Formula 1 2002 by EA Sports. Now, here we have the Wikipedia article, and it was released for Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube. It's released everywhere, basically. And now, it might be a little limited that because it had to fit on the GameCube, but yeah, we'll see if that really affects how it plays later. Now, this is just the basic box art. It's the same between versions. And this game was developed by Visual Sciences, which is the Formula 1 developer that everyone hates. The PC version was developed by ImageSpace Incorporated, though. I think the reason a lot of people hate Visual Sciences is because of F1 1998, but I don't know. So, yeah. Also, Game Boy Advance port. Can't imagine how disastrous that would be to play on. Because you know what the Game Boy Advance was, right? It couldn't even handle, like, 3D. So, I don't even know why people bothered with that system, but, yeah. Obviously, you have all your information about the release time and year. And basically, it was just a licensed Formula 1 game, and licensed Formula 1 games these days are just kind of, no one really cares about licensed Formula 1 games, but, yeah. Now, something that surprised me a bit about this game is, first of all, that there's not as much information as you'd expect on it, and it was given Best Driving Game on PC and Best Driving Game on GameCube awards. Or almost. I'm not sure with this cropping, but I'm not sure how. Must be some lazy ass reviewers to give it that. But I don't know what 2002 was like. So let's actually play the game. And here's a small Easter egg.
Also, weirdly enough, I'm not gonna say the whole thing, but for some reason there's a sticker on the disc that says Gerald Baldwin with, like, an address on it. So, Gerald, I think I found where a copy of F1 2002 went. Oh yeah, that's weird. I'm surprised you put the label on the disc and not on the box. I'm trying not to show the disc because obviously there's a man's address on here. So that's a little weird, but that's the thing you get with used games. Alright, since the CD-ROM, it's starting up the fan.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
That sounds so cheesy. That sounds wrong. What? Skipping past that because that was the thing that happened. Welcome to Formula 1 2002 by EA Sports. Back when EA was an honest and trustworthy company. What an interesting time. It's loading my save data. Just give it a tad of a second. So, obviously you have the EA Sports Cards thing, which I didn't know existed until this.
So, given that this game is supposed to be a sim racer, I decided to start out by going into the regular single player mode and doing a single Grand Prix and setting the settings to the more simulator side of the game. Obviously, this is not the PC version, so it might be slightly limited, but surely it cannot be that bad, right? Right.
Welcome to the magnificent set.
Unfortunately, the simulation aspects of this game are questionable. So, let's qualify. As you can see, if you break, it's all or nothing.
Be careful!
Yeah. This is a miserable sim experience. Because you can't really corner while you're braking. I get that in most sim races the idea is to corner before braking. But at the same time, there's definitely some minor adjustments that you need to make by braking the corner. And maybe I'm being too harsh on it, because I often compare sim races on PS2 to Gran Turismo 4, which is literally still one of the greatest sim racing games of all time, even if it's only simcade by today's standards. The handling feels super janky. Yeah.
In case you're wondering if it was any better during races, it certainly isn't. Like, at all. But holy shit, this is semi-family friendly!
Drive. First of all, I should point out the camera angles are weird. From here it looks super fast, but here it looks questionable at best. Also, there should be music playing, I believe.
Weather, and hit you. Turn around, you're going the wrong way. There's a spin in sector 1, watch for the yellow flags.
This is war. There's no questioning about that. And I have to go in the pit for some reason. I'm getting a pit in message.
Yes, sir. A smoke just ahead. Watch out. Be careful.
This is quite simply a miserable experience as it is. I cannot honestly say that this game is actually doing good with the simulation aspects. Because first of all, if it was, I'd have some form of control more than this over my car. Also, I have no idea where the pits are. Where's the goddamn pit lane?
You're running 20 seconds. Real nerve. It's running 7. About 30 seconds ahead.
Absolutely miserable.
So having determined that it's not a good racing sim, I decided to see if it was at least a good arcade racer. So I went and turned the settings to be more arcade-like, having less realism to them and being more easy to control, and decided to see how that would work out.
The European Grand Prix.
And we'll be handling in normal mode.
In a tremendous cold.
More ass, really?
And dry tires.
You've hit Solo. Mika Solo. A smoke just ahead. Watch out. Enrique Benaldi is off.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be music. The music isn't working. Okay. That's interesting.
Your tires will have picked up all sorts from that trip. Be careful.
Still a miserable experience. Yes, I want to quit, you dumbass.
Despite this ill boding, I realized there was an even more arcadey mode, quick races, so I went into a quick race to see how it would go. And quite simply, it was a much better experience.
Now the music actually works, even though we're engulfed in steam. Or not steam, smoke. Smoke from smoke tires. That did not come out correctly at all. Nothing is coming out correctly. But now it's actually a decent feeling experience. Feels less like you're stuck in hell. I personally think this game is worth getting just to enjoy the quick races. I personally really like those. And also the music. The music is pretty good when it works, but it seems to only work in quick races. not entirely sure why. Also, the handling is much like, unless you have it simulation mode where it's impossible to drive like a normal human being, the handling is a lot like Need for Speed 3, where you hardly have to brake, and you're pretty much going at super speed, and you're only... It's very weird feeling. That's what I'll say. I mean, it's an okay game. If you want to pick something out at a garage sale or something, and this happens to be in the pile, I can absolutely see picking that up, but quite simply, I think there are better games out there. It is better than 2017, in my opinion, because that was just a train wreck of a game where it was impossible to do anything without it being way too hardcore simulation to actually be enjoyable. Yeah, I low-key hate modern Formula One games. They never deliver a satisfying experience. This is a tad more satisfying thanks to the quick races, but if you're doing anything other than quick races, it just feels like a burden to do anything. And look at that dust animation, that's awful. Look at that, that is truly horrible. If you've seen the way dust picks up in Gran Turismo 4, like, you might say, oh, it was PlayStation 2, it was limited. As someone who's played Gran Turismo 4, no. PS2 can definitely make better dust than that. Obviously not the most graphically impressive game on the PlayStation 2. Like I said, it's a garage sale game. It's a game people buy, forget about, and then it ends up in a garage sale one day in like the year 2019. And obviously there's this when you're about to win a race. And now to wrap it up, I'm going to do a race in the first person perspective. Or not quite first person, but just show you the difference in sense of speed. Also because the helmet looks way too realistic. I need to show you that, for sure. This is first person view, which is obviously weird, so we're going to switch to this view. And you'll notice the reflections on the helmet are alarmingly realistic, to the point where they actually kind of don't make sense. And the side mirrors sort of work too. But you also notice that it feels much faster this way. Significantly faster. There's also a a noticeable difference in how it handles for some reason. Oh boy, what am I doing? So it's a bit difficult in first person, or whatever this camera angle is called. It's just above the person that is the first. Oh god. It's much faster, but a bit more difficult to work with. I mean, it's worth it. You get a nice sense of speed, for sure, for your troubles. At the same time, it's kind of ridiculous. Also, the functions of the helmet are the most realistic thing in this game. They spent hours on that, but spent like a few minutes on these car models, I feel like. If you know what I mean. But it's probably not fair to measure everything with the same standard as the Gran Turismo games. But by God I am, because sometimes they just don't deliver the way a satisfying PS2 game should. And Gran Turismo is like the epitome, the epitome of a satisfying PS2 game. It is the ultimate satisfying PS2 game, if you ask me. It's like the best PS2 game I've ever played. It's not saying a lot. I haven't played like a lot of PS2's biggest hits, other than Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter is dope, but I can't seem to get past certain points in the game. But you get the point, right? It's like every game you play should be a nice, satisfying experience that you'll come out of glad that you played it and you want to play it again at some point. I definitely think this camera angle definitely enhances that, but the overall game, the campaign and structure of it, it's a Formula 1 game. You really can't expect much. It's not like the Psygnosis Formula 1 games, which are like super good. Psygnosis Studio Liverpool. Same people who made Wipeout. I mean, it's not surprising that the people who made Wipeout made a better Formula 1 game. I mean, they made one like the crown jewels of racing in games. And EA Sports, their focus was just to make a sports game. And that's fine, obviously. They were EA's a big development in-house, or whatever you want to call it, and as long as the developers get paid at the end of the day. But quite honestly, I don't think EA Sports should try to make it in the driving game. I think other divisions of EA are better at that. There's like this whole thing about this, like different parts of EA are good at different things. Like you have EA is just like a box full of a ton of unique different developers, like Black Box, Criterion, DICE. And EA Sports is just one of those little divisions within EA. And let's be honest, they have a lot on... EA Sports has a lot on their plate. I mean, they literally make the sports games for each year, so obviously they didn't have the best time to polish these games. But I think that's a shame, because if they'd given their team a little more time to work on this, this could have been like one of generally best Formula 1 games. Unfortunately,
magically no. So what I think of F1 2002? I think, as I said, it's a garage sale game. If you see it in a garage sale and you haven't got it already, then it's worth getting, because the quick races are nice and fun. But other than that, it's not a game with a lot of substance. So if you see it like in a legit retro game store, don't get it. Save your money for something else. It might be like a really good game that you miss out because you spent your money on F1 2002 instead. Like, seriously, copies of Motorhead are getting up to like $18. This is getting ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, my main gripe is that simulation, the physics are impossible in simulation mode. Like, quick race is the only thing that you can legitimately do, I feel like. But that is my opinion on F1 2002, and yeah, obviously it's a visual sciences game. I didn't want to hate them at first, but I see why people don't like them. Hey guys, Studio here. Just want to say thank you for watching this video and explain some things. First of all, I was sick while I was trying to make this, so this did kind of get delayed because I was working while I was sick, but I felt like shit while doing it, so you know. And also, for some reason, the audio got really screwed up. I'm not sure how, but the voice recordings I made aren't synced with the video footage, and sometimes just the audio itself isn't synced with the video footage, so you'll get weird looking stuff or weird sounding stuff. I'm sorry about that. I've never had that issue before with my equipment. But thanks for watching regardless. Anyway, please enjoy cringing to not only the sound of my singing voice, but also the fact that this is out of sync with the music itself. That's all for now. I'll see you later. Thank you for checking out my content. I'll see you later in another video next time. I'll see you then. Willow City on YouTube.com. Where the hell did the audio go?